Alright, new year, new video, and new stills. Personally done by me, so if you're interested, you can check out my socials in the description below to view them in full. And if you haven't already, please follow my socials and subscribe to my channel as I constantly update about future videos as well as other fun stuff. Okay, now that the promotional stuff is checked off, what manga do I plan on covering today? Well, how about an Oriental fantasy story involving a master-student relationship that has gem powers a la Steven Universe? Because this manga is something I've been interested in covering for a while now, ever since I finished it last year. And that manga is Diamond in the Rough. The story was created by MaxAC, who created the manga back on Shueisha Shonen Jump Plus website, the same website that released other great mangas such as Ron Deranged Detective and Marriage Toxin. It ran from November 25, 2020 and concluded on December 27, 2023, releasing 9 volumes that contain 73 chapters. The story starts by giving some exposition that the world revolves around stones, and without them society would collapse as they have some uses such as purifying water, generating electricity, etc. etc. But the most precious stones in this world have always been gems, which hold incredible latent powers within them. We get introduced to one of our main characters, Akiboshi, who is a traveling ore craftsman passing by this village looking to stock up on supplies while also providing aid. This news eventually reaches to our second main character, Kai, who seems to get the short end of the stick when it comes to paid jobs. And when he hears that an ore craftsman is visiting the village, the only thing he took note of was that he wore a red ruby earring. After coming across Akiboshi, Kai tricked him into falling into a pit and planned on burying him alive, only to realize that he's got the wrong person and drag Akiboshi out of the pit after Akiboshi shamelessly admit he's afraid of the dark and is claustrophobic. Now, the reason for Kai's attempted murder was due to something that happened 3 years ago in his village, when an ore craftsman with a similar colored earring attacked his village by releasing a gas-like fog that petrified people when in contact. And if that wasn't bad enough, his family was caught in the center of it, as Kai saw his father being petrified by the perpetrator right in front of his eyes, and he would have joined his family too if the guards hadn't came, leaving the perpetrator to make his escape, and leaving Kai with a petrified foot. To make up for his mistake, he cooks Akiboshi a meal and they have a nice moment to bond, as Kai himself has never been above ground, asking if some of the stones Akiboshi was showing him earlier have the same color as the sky and ocean. But their time is cut short when Kai's boss orders him to come back to work. However, both Akiboshi and Kai agree to meet back at the same location tomorrow around noon. Hoping to get answers from him, Akiboshi runs after Kai, where he leads him to another village under the current one that looks abandoned and where Kai's petrified family resides. And to add more tension to the situation, to no surprise, the chief arrives telling Akiboshi that the red diamond that he was hoping to see was right in front of him. He explains that he's recently the mayor and before he was a traveling gem merchant. After the petrification incident, the remaining people of the village came to him to beg him to buy Kai and his family. The only reason why Kai is still able to run around was because before they kept him isolated in a room, but the diamond on his leg wasn't growing, so they put him to work with the empty promise that Kai will be able to buy back his family one day. The chief then arrogantly boasts that the red diamond has more value than Kai's life, as he proceeds to stomp on Kai. This causes Kai's diamond ability to overheat and turn to already transformed diamonds into sand. Fearing he may lose money, the chief orders one of the guards to cut off Kai's foot, but Akiboshi rushes in to protect them from the blow. He consoles Kai about his struggle and tells him to leave this place while handing him his earring. He unleashes his red ruby sword and tells the chief he's no longer interested in the red diamond, as there are some things that hold more valuable than any gem. He attacks the chief and his guards, but the chief has something up his sleeve. in the form of a petrified beast with diamond-like fangs. Akiboshi tries to continue fighting, but the wound from earlier starts to severely affect him. And just like before when Akiboshi protected him, Kai came back to try to help him as Akiboshi promised Kai that he would show him the real world. Now that the two are teaming up, they stand a chance against the petrified beast as, with some encouragement, if you can even call it that, from Akiboshi, Kai is starting to be able to control his powers and temporarily turns Akiboshi's red sword into a red diamond sword. Akiboshi slashes the beast and kills it, and afterwards thanks Kai for the assistance. Realizing that this might be his chance to get stronger and achieve his goal of finding the perpetrator and freeing his family, Kai gets on his knees and begs Akiboshi to make him his apprentice. And Akiboshi accepts, giving Kai his red ruby earring as tradition, as they start a brand new adventure together. So that's chapter 1, and for me, the most interesting appeal of this story is the world building and the power system revolving around gems. Other than Steven Universe and Land of the Lustrous, I can't think of any more gem related stories. They're surprisingly rare. I can't believe I unintentionally put that in the script. I missed this. So, as always, before I move on, if you're interested in checking out this manga for yourself, this is your chance to click off the video now, as I'll go over the story of the manga as well as my usual coverage. So with that out of the way, please enjoy the video and let's move on to... One thing to note about the art style is the use of vibrant colors and watercolor illustrations. I feel like if the mangaka had a chance, they could have fully colored the manga as each page pops off with incredible detail and shading. In the few moments we do see a page in full color, it's a sight to behold. The watercolors really do help make the art stand out. I think they use the wet on wet and wet on dry techniques for the watercolor. I say that because there's a segment towards the end of the manga that utilizes the watercolor scheme for an effective storytelling moment. Additionally, the manga also draws inspiration from Eastern Asia, from the geometric architecture to the Buddhist level style of clothing. It reminds me of another fantasy manga with a similar style that I may or may not be saving for a special event. No, what are you doing? I can't say you yet. I just said I was saving you for later. Let's start with Kai. While he's shown to be a fish out of water character when it comes to the outside world, he's surprisingly mature for his age, given the experience he went through for the past 3 years. But it's also shown that despite this, he's still a kid, with the same curiosity, competitiveness, and attitude you expect from someone like him. Then there's Akiboshi. He's caring, attentive, and carries this childlike wonder when it comes to gems. While he does carry this mysterious past, he continues to strive forward and see the brilliance in everyday life. That's why he took on Kai as his apprentice, as he can see the spark and brilliance in Kai's eyes when Kai expresses his desire to save his family. With the two together, they develop a touching master-apprentice relationship that works well off of each other, with Akiboshi teaching Kai about the world and his gem powers while acting like a proud, doting but embarrassing parent, and Kai teaching Akiboshi it's okay to express his desires and feelings as well. Kai gives Akiboshi something to fight for, even if Akiboshi's money spending habits are terrible. I can only dread what Akiboshi's budgeting was like before he met Kai. There are a few more characters that appear in the story later on, although I do want to highlight some that will play major roles in supporting the duo on their journey. First there's Ko, a young energetic girl who was initially jealous of Kai because Akiboshi never took on an apprentice before, and she wanted to be his apprentice when she was younger, thus sparking a rivalry between her and Kai. But as the journey goes along, she sees what kind of person Kai is and forms a friendship with him. Next there's Sakon, Ko's teacher. While she appears to be a no-nonsense, calm individual, she does show a sweet, caring side to Ko, as she was brought on by Ko's family when Ko was young, and the two have a sweet relationship akin to a sistership. Lastly, there's Benito and Kuragane. Like with Kai and Akiboshi and Ko and Sakon, both Benito and Kuragane have a master-apprentice relationship. Benito was interesting in that he was initially a doctor, but changed professions to a blacksmith who makes weapons for orc craftsmen. He and Akiboshi have been friends for a long time and belongs to a race called Stone Eaters, who are known to eat stones for survival and are able to connect with the stones themselves. And while Benito is extroverted, gentle but blunt when things get serious, and sometimes act like an aunt that you're embarrassed by, Kuragane is the opposite, being quiet, subdued, and is a pacifist, which is reflected in his craftsmanship. He may have had a small role in the beginning, but over the course of the story, he plays an active role, and like with Ko, forms a friendship with Kai as well, much to their surprise. Now that the major and minor characters are established, let's move on to the pacing of Diamond in the Rough is done pretty well. It wastes no time in establishing the power system and the world the characters are in. The power system in the manga is simple but effective, as an ore craftsman must use their own energy and guiding force in order to draw out the powers of a stone or change the shape of it. The guiding force is similar to an aura, and like an aura, it takes training and hard work to fully master. And for a gemstone, one must be attuned with the guiding force already contained in the gem itself to draw out their powers. Each gem has its own abilities, as it emulates both its characteristics and history. For example, Ruby can emit fire, Lapis Lazuli can purify, Tiger's Eye can summon a tiger, diamonds can create shields and transform stones into hearted diamonds temporarily. You get the idea. As for the world, it starts by establishing the hub world called the Mining Federation, and the Art Bureau is one of its many branches. It's the same organization that Akiboshi, Ko, and Sakon are a part of, and the first stop in Kai's journey to find a way to free his family. After getting acquainted with Ko and being challenged to a duel by her, Kai gets the answers on who his mysterious orc craftsman could be as he launches an attack onto the village and starts petrifying people. This is Kurotobi, and I know I joked about how Togumi is the love child between Gojo and Kido, but Kurotobi looked like his hotter older brother. He came to the village to search for Kai and his red diamond after he was told by that snake old chief it wasn't there anymore. Leading into a tense reunion as Kurotobi denies he did anything wrong to Kai's family and remarks he turned them into a beautiful sculpture statue thanks to his Stibnite. He overpowers Kai by overheating the red diamond in Kai's foot, but Akiboshi comes in the nick of time to save him. The two proceed to square off, although they seem to be familiar with each other in a way that relates to Akiboshi's old name being Pigeon Blood. The fight takes a turn when Kurotobi uses a petrified family as hostage to gain the upper hand. Kai tries to hand himself over after seeing Akiboshi get heavily injured, but Akiboshi tells him not to give up and use his powers to help him. By remembering the things Akiboshi did for him, Kai strengthened his resolve and summoned the shield to counter Kurotobi's attacks, and just in time as the Orc Craftsman reinforcements arrived to help, and they wouldn't have gotten him too if he didn't unsurprisingly escape thanks to his accomplice. After recovering from the fight, both Akiboshi and Kai appeared before the chief, where she discusses a possible punishment for Akiboshi, because 1. Kai's ability to turn stone into diamond, which is considered prohibited for everyone except for special craftsmen, and 2. Akiboshi's reluctant duty to report on the red diamond, implying, at least to the Federation, that he was planning to keep the red diamond to himself. However, after explaining he was looking after Kai's best interests, he pleads to the chief to allow him and Kai to continue their journey, and even offers to capture Kurotobi as collateral, because not only Kurotobi is going to continue to hunt down Kai, but he's a former member of the Federation who ran away. Realizing it would be easier for Kai to be on the move rather than for the Federation to be a standing target for Kurotobi to evade again, the chief accepts Akiboshi's request, although she seems to have something up her sleeve to prevent Akiboshi and Kai from discovering a secret of hers. What is with these old chiefs and being the most shady fuckers? Anyway, Akiboshi and Kai are off to their next stop, and this time Ko is coming with them. Mostly as insurance in case Kai is in a vulnerable spot and Akiboshi is either preoccupied with either Kurotobi or another dangerous situation. After a loving goodbye between Ko and Sakan, Akiboshi plans to head to a place he knows in order for Kai to have a weapon to defend himself with. But first, Kai needs to train in order to build up stamina for his abilities, and Ko is there to help him. This does give him a chance to bond, and they both learn how one is jealous over the other, with Kai being jealous over Ko's fighting experience and ability to work with other adults, and Ko being jealous of Kai's superior gem and his relationship with Akiboshi. She reveals that Akiboshi was the one who taught her how to cherish her gem despite it being considered as a semi-precious gem, and Kai adds to the conversation by telling her how his mom once told him that there's no true hierarchy among gems, and at the end of the day, they're all the same. A statement that's going to play an important part very soon. They eventually arrived at the place Akiboshi was talking about called the Anobi Mines, where Benito and Kurogane lived. After meeting the both of them, Benito used his stone resonance to help Kai find a weapon in an adorable scene where Kai views Akiboshi as a symbol of strength. And out of all the weapons displayed in Benito's shop, the one that chose Kai was a small malleable dagger made by Kurogane. But it does have its advantages, as its shape memory alloy makes it easier for Kai to turn it into a diamond without the risk of it turning into sand. Despite this happy occasion, that's not the only reason Akiboshi wanted to stop by, as after the kids went to bed, Benito tells Akiboshi to cut the bullcrap and explain what is happening to his body. We get an insight on Akiboshi's past, as it's shown that he, Benito, and Kurotobi were child experiments who were picked off the streets and had gemstones embedded into their skin to artificially create the optimal human being. While Akiboshi and Benito were considered lucky to be a success, Kurotobi was seen as a failed experiment and probably went through much worse. Ironically enough, his artificial body is what saved him from being petrified from Kurotobi's attacks earlier, but the Stimnite is still rotting away inside, so he's asking Benito if it's possible to remove or at least stop the petrification process. Benito, being realistically, tells him that his gemstone is more of a medical one, and even if he starts analyzing, we'll have to cut into Akiboshi's body and risk fatally injuring him, or worse, death. Akiboshi replies that it doesn't matter as he feels nobody will miss him, but asks Benito if he passes and if it's within his power to heal Kai's foot and his family. This causes Kai, who heard this whole conversation, to storm in and angrily ask Akiboshi to explain himself on why he's willing to throw his life away so easily. This starts an argument between the two as Kai expresses his desire to be Akiboshi's equal, but feels Akiboshi is prioritizing his needs over his own. I like this moment here because it humanizes Akiboshi's character and turns the master-student relationship into more of a partnership one. Yes, Kai is a kid, but he has shown he can handle situations with a mature understanding. Plus, after everything Akiboshi did for him, it's not a stretch to think that Kai wants to reciprocate that help, if not physically, then emotionally. That's why when the argument leads to Akiboshi admitting his desire to live despite having no regrets dying for him, Kai just smiles and extends an invitation to Akiboshi to talk about his past when he's ready before leaving. Akiboshi smiles afterwards too, acknowledging the growth Kai has on him and promising to apologize to him in the morning. But that promise is going to have to wait, as not even a minute after Kai left the room, Kurotobi's accomplice, later named Yukari, came in and petrified Kai. Whoa, where the hell did you come from? Your name must be Shadow because you just literally teleported onto the scene. Don't worry about Kai, he's still alive, as proven by Benito when he and Akiboshi found him. It seems the plan was to transport the petrified Kai to Kurotobi without raising any suspicion, but Ko and Kurogane interfere with that plan, leaving Yukari to make her escape. But it doesn't matter to Kurotobi, as he's looking forward to Kai ultimately becoming the diamond in the rough. Back at Benito's shop, Akiboshi orders Ko to send a dispatch to Sargon while he investigates what happened, because there's something suspicious about how Yukari managed to get in despite a barrier being there. We don't get the confirmation yet, but you can probably guess the main culprit behind this. Ko comes back to inform them that while there's no mining federation branch in the area, the next best option is the Anobi mine guards, who arrest Akiboshi on the charges of not fulfilling his promise of protecting Kai. The guards take Akiboshi and Kai, who is contained in a box, away, while Ko is sent back to Sakon for safety. The guards lead Akiboshi to the ruler of the Anobi mines called Susumi, one of the 12 stone signs of the Federation. You can think of the 12 stone signs as the elite or craftsmen, a group that Akiboshi was once a part of but since then retired from them. He's familiar with Susumi, however their relationship has always been rocky, so it's no surprise to Akiboshi when Susumi starts to antagonize him and gall him into a fight. Susumi berates Akiboshi, calling out on his past and present failures, to which Akiboshi acknowledges and humbly asks Susumi for help. He even offers to capture Yukari for him, as Susumi is familiar with her both as a fellow Stone Eater and her history. I know this is starting to sound very familiar, but don't worry, this time it's gonna be different. Susumi agrees, mainly because he believes that the Federation were too harsh on arresting him for something that was out of his control, and even if he didn't want to admit it out loud, he can see how great of an influence Kai has been on Akiboshi, as in the past he was never like this. I like this guy. He may act like a bit of an arrogant dickhead, but he clearly has morals and is not afraid to go against the rules. Meanwhile with Kai, he wakes up in a mysterious place with a mysterious boy appearing before him, explaining they are in a place called the Ore Vein, where the souls of all stones gather. The boy seems to be familiar with Kai and continues to explain he was tasked to guide Kai through this place since Kai turned into stone and became a stone soul. We do get the confirmation that nobody else but him is here, so that means Kai's family, the mother-daughter that Kurotobi petrified earlier, and the rest of the possible victims are still alive. The boy tries to persuade Kai into staying here after Kai asks if it's possible to leave. He even offers to bring his family to Kai if it makes him stay, as he believes that going back will only cause more trouble for him and the others. But Kai refuses to give up now. Having his family with him would only be the coward's way out, plus Akiboshi is either currently or about to do something reckless to save him, so staying would be irresponsible of him. Suddenly, a dragon appeared who was watching this exchange and opposed a simple challenge at Kai. While the challenge doesn't guarantee a way out, his guiding force will become powerful enough to make an escape, or risk having his soul devoured. So his challenge is this: find the most valuable stone among the mountain of stones and bring it to them. Switching back to Akiboshi, Susumi gathers Sakon and Ko and begins to hunt down Kurotobi and Yukari. His gemstone is perfect for this, as combining with his secretary Uno's, they created a water tunnel vision to pinpoint Yukari's location, as she still has some excess water left over from her escape. Once they found her, they prepared for the upcoming battle tomorrow and head off towards Yukari's location in the morning. However, Yukari and Kurotobi expected the unexpected and confronted the group early, with Sakon and Ko dealing with Yukari and Akiboshi dealing with Kurotobi. During this fight, we get Kurotobi's motivation and why he's so hell-bent on turning people into stone. He believes that turning people into stone is the equivalent of saving them, as of course humanity has shown to be selfish and willing to do anything to keep their status. So if everyone turns into a gem, then status, discrimination, and fighting are all gone, with everyone having the same value. And as for Kai, while petrifying his foot was pure coincidental, he is happy about the growth Kai displayed after receiving the red diamond. You can even say he might see a bit of himself in Kai and the potential in him becoming the diamond in the rough. More on that later. While he has a point on the selfish nature of humanity and his backstory is tragic, his philosophy and methods are flawed, because if everyone is turned into stone, humanity will become stagnant and this world will turn into a darker version of Dr. Stone. The fight leads to a standstill, but Kurotobi activates his trap card as our random ore craftsman betrays the Federation and sends the box containing Kai over to Kurotobi. While all this fighting is happening, Kai is struggling to find a stone valuable enough to pass the dragon's test. But he realizes that his current line of thinking is no better than those who wants to possess his red diamond. And after the mysterious boy references the words Akiboshi once said in regards to explaining why he took Kai as an apprentice, Kai gains inspiration and polishes the entire mountain of stones to present to the dragon. He explains that the meaning of value is something that humans decide to give, as in nature, it's something that doesn't exist. So he puts value into polishing every stone. He essentially views each stone as valuable. This out-of-the-box explanation was enough to satisfy the dragon and gives him the reward they promised. Kurotobi senses what had just happened and uses this opportunity to borrow the red diamond powers due to Kai becoming part of the gap between man and stone, resulting in Kurotobi activating a giant robot statue to crush Akiboshi. The mysterious boy, who is revealed to be the red diamond itself, becomes aware of Kurotobi's actions and urgently informs Kai of the situation outside. There's still a chance to turn this thing around because if Kurotobi can access Kai's diamond, so can Akiboshi. The red diamond asks Kai to make a wish upon him in order to both escape from this place and have Akiboshi take control over Kurotobi. Thanks to the bond between master and apprentice, Kai unlocks a new ability called Inversion, which inverted the petrification done to both him and Akiboshi. Reunited, the two can fight side by side, and together they manage to take down Kurotobi, with Sagan and Ko taking down Yukari as well. Even though this man is chained, Kurotobi still has one last Hail Mary, and that's to petrify himself. Because if he can't fulfill his goal, he might as well free himself. Unfortunately for him, Yukari stepped in the way and got petrified in his place, saying it would be a waste on him. Well, it seems almost everything is about wrapped up. The only thing left to do is for Kai to test to see if his inversion powers will work on the victims Kurotobi petrified, to which it does. However, it's not the solution for Kai's family. Because Kurotobi is a failed experiment, his abilities strain him physically the more he uses it, so he's a lot weaker than he was 3 years ago, and he can't undo the petrification even if he wanted to, and neither can Kai. It's like having a permanent level 2 lock picking skill trying to pick a level 5 lock. But Kurotobi does give Kai hope by mentioning the diamond in the rough, before leaving to head back to his cell. This is where we get a glimpse as to what exactly is the diamond in the rough. In short, it's considered a legend where one becomes a gap between human and stone, and has the power to listen to every stone and use their ability. It's like the avatar of gemstones. Akiboshi is familiar with the legend as well, but doesn't know the finer details about it, so the next stop in their journey is the Holy Dragon Village to see if they have any more info. This, you can argue, is where the plot really kicks off, and the 26 chapters I just went over was the build-up. And some of you are probably thinking, wait a minute, if the manga has 73 chapters total, then we're about more than a quarter done with the story, so how? Well, let's just say there's a certain part in the story that is a major turning point, both for the pacing and story of the manga. So put a pin on this, we'll come back to it later. Akiboshi, Kai, Ko, and Bonito and Kurogane all journey together to the Holy Dragon Village, where they meet the ruler Susuro, who is Susumi's grandfather. He does shed some light on the Diamond in the Rough legend. In order to become the Diamond in the Rough, one must find the sites of the 12 stones and master its corresponding gemstone. Sounds simple enough, and Susuro is willing to grant the permission to access the ruins. Although right now he's currently dealing with a bit of a bandit problem. If only there were a couple of adventurers that could help him with this dilemma. Everyone tries to decide how to deal with the bandits, except for Kurogane, who wanted to go back to their hideout. Usually this would be a fine excuse, however he seems to be familiar with the bandits, as shown in the previous panels, and he will later meet up with the leader of the bandits named Tayo. Kurogane's past takes the spotlight in this arc and fleshes out Kurogane's character more. We learned that despite being born and raised in the bandit gang, he was often viewed by others as weak and a coward. Even his own parents thought he was a liability. It was only by pure chance that Bonito found Kurogane after Kurogane was escaping from someone and brought him under his wing. Kurogane reminds me of a low self-esteem introvert who shut themselves off from the rest of the world, where all they need is a sudden spark to ignite the hidden courage deep within them, and that spark comes in the form of Bonito getting hurt. After meeting up with Tayo and gaining a brutal reminder of his past, Kurogane debates with himself if he should tell the others about the bandits' plan of stealing treasure in the ruins, at the risk of revealing his past and possibly disappointing Benito. But after Kai gives him a pep talk, Kurogane was about to come clean, until an arrow that was aiming for him hit Benito as he protected him. The arrow was coated with an orbiment substance and is extremely poisonous to the point that normal medicine won't work, and only the bandits carry the antidote. Kurogane now has no choice but to reveal his bandit history and reveals their plans as well as their strategy of sending a distraction group to attack the village while the main one heads towards the ruins. So the group splits up into two teams. Akiboshi will act as a guard for one of the village gates, while Kai, Ko, and Kurogane head to the ruins. Even though Kurogane is scared of the inevitable confrontation, his fear of losing Benito outweighs his fear of the past, leading him to gather his resolve to go with Kai and Ko. Akiboshi effortlessly okay, I can do this. Akiboshi effortlessly. This is gonna take me a moment, isn't it? Akiboshi effortlessly deals with the bandits as a one-man army and tries to see if any of them have the antidote, to no avail, and the three apprentices enter the ruins. The ruins remind me of the ruins in the Legend of Zelda franchise, where each of them have their own set of trials and puzzles. And for Kai, his trial began the second he entered, with the manifestation of Aquamarine appearing before him, informing him her true form lies below and hopes to see more of his courage. The three managed to pass the trial and made it to the end, but they were stopped by Tayo and his group. Unsurprisingly, they followed the team in the ruins due to Kai being the only one who can go deeper inside, and Kai uses this to his advantage by bargaining the treasure with the antidote. Tayo agrees, and it looks like things are going well, but the second Kai asks for proof of the antidote because, you always trust the word of a thief, Tayo changes his tune and attacks them. This, along with the aquamarine being removed, causes a giant octopus to appear, acting as a hidden trial. It killed two of the bandits, knocked Tayo out, and lead the apprentices and Tayo's son to deal with the octopus. After an extensive display of teamwork, they defeated the octopus and the real aquamarine stone showed itself. The ruins start to flood and Kai still hasn't shown his courage to the aquamarine, but he thinks if he can reach the stone, the trials will be officially over. Tayo regains consciousness just in time to lend a hand, and even commends the others for showing spirit. Once Kai reaches the aquamarine, she asks him the extent of his bravery. He responds similar to how Kurogane decided to go to the ruins, as his fear of losing his family and even his friends gives him the push to keep fighting on and move forward. The aquamarine accepts his answer and gives Kai and Ko, with some assistance from Akiboshi, a way out, but not before hinting to Kai that he is not the only one who is a diamond in the rough candidate. The gang finally made it out and got the antidote Benito needs after Kurogane saved Tayo's son. After their recovery, Suzuto brings up a good point. How the hell did the bandits know about the treasure? Yes, Kurogane told Tayo they were heading to the ruins, but he assumed they were looking for the treasure and only a handful of people knew about the treasure. It isn't like a local legend that some random Joe Schmo can hear about in the local tavern. But the manga did give an answer to that, as earlier it cuts to a scene where Tayo and his son were dealt with by two new characters who will play an important part in the next arc. Well, it's off to the next stop in their journey, and this time they have a choice. They can either go to the East Wind Village, which is the gate to the eastern continent, or the Silver Scale Village, which is an underground volcanic city, and funny enough is Ko's home city where her brother is the ruler. Ko doesn't look like she's in a hurry to visit home, so they decide to head to the East Wind Village. That and another reason, and it's going to be a major plotline that takes place in the next arc of the manga. So, who wants to talk about racial issues? Nobody? Anybody? Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so I'm gonna try to make this as little political as possible because to me, even talking about politics, especially during this current day and age, is enough to make me want to find the nearest window to jump off of. Earlier in this video, I mentioned how Benito is a part of a race called the Stone Eaters. Well, the Stone Eaters have been facing discrimination for a long time. There was a major war between them and the mainlanders that happened long ago, resulting in the north part of the continent being more unfriendly towards Stone Eaters compared to the south. The manga doesn't fully go into detail as to how this discrimination started, but it does give an idea. Since some Stone Eaters have powerful guiding force enough to take on petrified beasts and are attuned to stones, naturally people became jealous of them, and that jealousy turned into heresy, who banned Stone Eaters and those associated with them from their village, like Silver Scale Village. There are some places like the Holy Dragon Village and the Anobi Mines where the two races coexist. However, for some Stone Eaters, those places aren't enough for them. For people like Urumi and Fuji, they want an island for themselves and their people. Urumi and Fuji are interesting to me because while they are antagonists of this arc, their ambitious goal of creating a better place for their people puts them more in a gray area. Although in Fuji's case, he's definitely in the murky gray, as his backstory explores how the Stone Eater's motto of enduring like a stone does cost the lives of his parents and in turn leading to him despising that motto and wanting to take matters into his own hands. Despite wanting to do right by his people, both he and Urumi are willing to do whatever it takes to achieve that goal. Even murder, such as after meeting Kai and Akiboshi for the first time, Fuji deals with a racist man, saying that his kind of thinking would spread if he was left alive. They believe they can make their dream a reality because it's revealed Urumi is also a diamond in the rough candidate. They plan on heading to the Silver Scale Village, and after discovering the path to the East Wind Village is blocked by a week-long festival, Akiboshi and Kai have no choice but to turn around and head towards the same village. Sorry, Ko, looks like you have no choice but to confront your past like Kurogane. The reunion between Ko and her brother Oma and her father went as well as you expected. A lot of awkwardness and tension as Oma berates Ko on her failures and belittles her gem. Despite these insults, Ko still harbors no ill will towards her brother. This complicated relationship started after both siblings received their gems. And for Ko's family, being chosen by the 12 stones was tradition. So when Oma got the amethyst and Ko got her inferior tiger's eye, it created a rift between the two, with Ko trying to pick up the pieces in the hopes that their relationship could be fixed. She's not wrong for thinking like this, as deep down, Oma still cares for his sister, but has to mask it under the guise of a cold, distant person. He has his own demons to deal with, trying to resolve his village's resources issues, being regarded as the weaker member of the 12 stone signs, burdened with the guilt of stealing Ko's guiding force after his own wasn't enough, while also navigating a system that refuses to change despite needing to in order to flourish, including his own father. Oma agrees in guiding the group to the village ruins, except this time he's personally going to go with them. The reason being he's interested in the Diamond in the Rough legend, but maybe he also wants to spend some time with his sister? Since Oma and Sakon, who was summoned by Oma earlier, are going to accompany the group to the ruins the next day, Kurogane wants to head back to Benito to see if he's still okay and keep him company. So Ko leads everyone through a secret tunnel as a shortcut. Inside the tunnel, they come across a Stone Eater child. Oh no, I can see where this is going. Who collapsed due to exhaustion, and Ko found a hole that wasn't there when she was little. Both she and Kai investigate what's going on the other side, and they find a hidden Stone Eater village that drains a person's guiding force. The chief then comes by and explains the situation. It's what you expect, as the chief reveals their village is nothing more than a battery for the Silver Scale Village. In the aftermath of the war, while most Stone Eaters fled to the south, some were unable to and were approached by the previous lord of the Silver Scale Village. They offered the injured Stone Eaters food, clothes, and shelter in exchange for them and their generations to provide guiding force for the village as well as mine for resources. While this seems like a paradise, it's nothing more than a cage where the second you outlive your usefulness, you're discarded without a second thought. But they've been conditioned to this lifestyle for so long that leaving to the outside world is more of a risk. So the chief asked the group to become ignorant to this issue. This causes an argument between Kai and Ko, with Kai wanting to free the Stone Eaters because he knows more than anyone what it's like being a slave, and Ko, still having faith in her brother, wants to verify things before passing assumptions onto him. Yeah, the next day is pretty awkward, with Kai immediately confronting Oma about the slave situation. Oma doesn't really give an answer. He's more concerned about Fuji and Arumi trespassing on sacred grounds. But after explaining they have every right to be there as much as they do, everyone heads down the ruins and Kai and Arumi start their trial. The trial the Amethyst persona gives Kai and Arumi is a choice. They can hold the stone that's in front of them, but at the cost of the volcano erupting and destroying the village. It doesn't matter what they choose, as long as it honors their inner truth. Well, this is a tricky situation. It's one of those are you willing to sacrifice everything to achieve your goal type of things. You could have a moral dilemma on this subject, or you could be Arumi and Fuji and say, fuck those people, that wasn't even a decision. The two flee with the use of tame petrified beasts, but they're not quite done with the Silver Scale village yet, as another plan is brewing on the surface. Kai still has to make his decision, and to no surprise, he declines the offer for the Amethyst power. Although I do like this moment before this where Akiboshi tells Kai that it doesn't matter what he chooses, he'll still be his apprentice. Everyone heads back to the village where Oma prepares to enact his plan. Since his gemstone has the power to emit barriers, it's possible for him to block the upcoming lava. However, the wider the barrier, the weaker his barrier becomes. So the plan is for Oma to gather the villagers' guiding force to enhance his barrier using their machine. But Fuji and Arumi's army of petrified beasts can hinder that plan, so everyone splits into different groups. Oma deals with the barrier, Akiboshi and Kai deals with Arumi, Ko and Sakan exterminates any petrified beast that snuck into the village, and even Benito and Kurogane noticed something amiss and went to find everyone while helping the guards take out the petrified beasts. Side note, I do want to highlight this moment of Benito's backstory and how he stands in the middle between two extremes of discrimination. After a mainlander saved him and his family from being poached for the horns, his father killed his mother and younger brother, saying he would rather die than accept help from a mainlander. From then on, Benito decides to help anyone in need regardless of race, even if some of them might have biases against them. I really like this backstory because beyond fleshing out Benito's character, it shows a side of an oppressive race that I'm sure that other stories who do this that rarely gets explored. Back to the story, Ko receives word that Oma is heading underground and left behind his earring of the 12 stone signs. He asks the underground stone eaters for their assistance as the villagers' guiding force isn't enough to sustain the barrier. He knows he remained ignorant to this problem for a while now, and he knows they have every right to decline this as the Stone Eaters will be fine if the volcano destroys the village. But Oma is willing to throw away his status as a member of the 12 Stone Signs, offers the Stone Eater citizenship along with other benefits, and physically gets on his knees to beg them for help, including his father who sees the lengths Oma is willing to go to. Is this a complete 180 from how Oma and Ko's father is portrayed? Yes. Does this annoy me to hell and back? Also yes. But this begging wavered the chief's decision to help them, and Kai and Akiboshi just now dealt with Arumi. But the petrified beasts were just a decoy for Fuji's true goal, which is to take Oma's head to send a message. And he almost did thanks to his hitting gemstone Alexandrite, but Ko and Sakan came just in the nick of time and heavily injured Fuji. And speaking of in the nick of time, good thing Oma is still alive because the volcano just erupted. Everyone gathers at the machine, and with the combined efforts of everyone, Kai using his aquamarine, and even Fuji after seeing his fellow stone eaters are willing to help the mainlanders, they manage to hold off the lava from destroying the village. Kai even gets granted the Amethyst power as a reward for his efforts. After all the craziness that happened, Akiboshi thinks it might be a good idea for Kai to have some downtime. So instead of heading to the East Wind Village like they're supposed to, Akiboshi wants to head to the Federation's central headquarters to look into some things. Fortunately, there is someone who can help take them there, and coincidentally enough, they arrive at the Silver Scale Village to check up on Oma, the leader of the 12 Stone Signs, Lord Iroha. They may look harmless being blind and have a nice exterior, but we already know just from looking at them they have a hidden dark side. After landing in central headquarters, Iroha explains the lore behind the Diamond in the Rough legend and how there can only be one chosen every 300 years. The Federation is desperate to use the Diamond in the Rough to solve their resource problem. It's why, spoiler alert, that shady chief helped Kuro Tobi break into the barrier to petrify Kai, and even after she got exposed, she was let go with a slap on the wrist because she gave the Federation some insurance, in case their current candidate perishes.
I am shocked! Shocked! Well, not that shocked.
Everyone settles in for the night, and Kai is understandably overwhelmed with the amount of information. Between learning about the Diamond in the Rough mythos, seeing Akiboshi's old facility after it's been repurposed, and seeing the Federation's candidate and the desperate lengths Iroha is willing to take to ensure the world's future, Kai is starting to think that maybe his selfish wish to free his family is inconsequential compared to the others. And Iroha doesn't help things, feeding on his doubts and offering an option to free his family that doesn't require him to become a Diamond in the Rough. All they have to do is combine their ability with a certain someone. Yep, that's right, Kuro Tobi is back for this part, and he thinks Iroha's plan could theoretically work, thanks to Iroha's diamond ability to enhance another gemstone's ability multifold. So they head to Kai's village, discover that Iroha's plan works, and for the first time in 3 years, Kai is able to be reunited with his family.
And then...
That's it.
Yeah, I wish I was joking, but there's no hidden surprise, or a last minute twist, or a gotcha moment from this. It did look like Iroha was up to something, judging by this panel showing Kuro Tobi's expression while commenting on someone's behavior, but that seems to be a fluke. And before you say, boy, that was a little anticlimactic, remember what I said 10-15 minutes ago.
Flashback.
Well, let's just say there's a certain part in the story that is a major turning point, both for the pacing and story of the manga. So put a pin on this, we'll come back to it later.
End of flashback.
Yeah, this is that part, because I'm not kidding when I say that the next 11 chapters of the manga are nothing short of a pacing nightmare. To be fair, it's not the mangaka's fault for this, as I highly suspect it was ended prematurely before Sasaki could flesh out some storylines. So forgive me if I start to go a bit faster for this last arc. It starts well enough, with Kai's parents getting caught up with the events, while Kai shows his little sister the outside world. There's some nice moments here with Kai's parents thanking Akiboshi for being there for Kai, Akiboshi opening up to Kai about his past and expressing his gratitude towards Kai, and Kai doing the same after giving Akiboshi back his earring. Since his family is healed, there's no reason for Kai to continue this journey, so heartfelt goodbyes were made, and while the future seems uncertain, at least Kai can now have a happy life. Cut to 6 months later.
What the hell is even that?
So, quick explanation. After getting settled into his new normal, Kai saw that just because his life is good now, doesn't mean the people he cares about aren't struggling with their own problems. They say they can obviously handle it, but it's not enough for Kai, who left under the guise he was meeting with Akiboshi to travel. But really, he was heading to Iroha to ask them to undertake the Diamond in the Rough trials to help solve the resource problem. This behavior isn't uncharacteristic of Kai, as earlier in the aftermath of the Silver Scale Village arc, Kai was debating with himself if it was okay for him to continue his journey at the risk of everyone getting hurt. When Iroha offered a special way to go through the trials without anyone getting hurt, Kai took it without hesitation. However, it turned him into the shell of a form you see here. It doesn't take long for Akiboshi to find out where Kai is and assemble everyone to break Kai out, and basically give him a smack upside the head. Because Kai forgot what Akiboshi said when he was having that debate with himself, that it's okay to be selfish sometimes. He's still a kid. He doesn't have to solve the world's problems. This leads to Kai breaking down and expressing his desire to journey with everyone again. But there's one obstacle standing in the way of that, and it's Iroha, who knows Kai and Co aren't gonna leave without a fight and retaliates by showing them another ability of theirs, which is to turn people into diamonds. The fight against Iroha is nothing special, although I do want to showcase the chapter that involves Iroha's backstory. Visually, it's one of the more interesting chapters as the watercolors help convey the life and color that someone special to Iroha was able to bring to them, despite Iroha losing the memory of their face. And when that someone sacrificed themselves for Iroha in the world, they literally explode into color. The fight ends with the red diamond removing himself from Kai, but he reassures him that he won't be gone forever, and someday they will meet again. Kai and Akiboshi defeat Iroha, and afterwards Iroha puts their faith into everyone to help solve the resource crisis, rather than take on the responsibility themselves. This finally leads us to the ending, where, to be honest, it reminds me of the 2003 version of Fullmetal Alchemist. An ending where some things do get resolved, but it's very obvious there are some plot lines that were left to the wayside, and it doesn't piss me off. Do I wish some characters and relationships were fleshed out more? Yes. Do I wish the mangaka had the time they needed to properly finish their story? Absolutely. But like I said when I talked about the ending of Undead Unlock, regardless of the rushed final act, at least this manga ended on a decent note. Ultimately, Diamond in the Rough, ironically enough, became the very thing it's named after. A manga that, while has a few rough elements to it, still manages to shine through and maintain a good quality story. While I wouldn't put it high on my recommendation list, I would still encourage everyone to at least check out a few chapters to see if you like it. And if you already read the manga, let me know what your thoughts are on this manga in the comments below. Thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell for more of my manga related content. I hope you have a decent day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Take a deep breath, deep breath, deep breath, deep breath. Let it go, let it out.